It's possible in the next 24 hours, we are going to find out if Dalvin Cook is going to leave the Minnesota Vikings and where he will end up. Obviously, there are a lot of fans in Miami who think he's going to be in South Florida next season, but none of us really knows right now. There's plenty of rumors going around. And after the Dolphins acquired De'Von Achane in the NFL draft this year, now they have 5 running backs in the room. Is there enough space? Are there enough carries for Dalvin Cook to come to the Miami Dolphins? And do the Miami Dolphins want to leverage additional trade value, trade currency, to bring in Dalvin Cook? Because I doubt that the Minnesota Vikings are just going to cut and release him. I think they're going to be looking for some trade value, some currency for future draft picks to come to Minnesota in exchange for Dalvin Cook. There's been a lot of talk on social media right now about Dalvin Cook coming to Miami, but what is the realistic chance of Dalvin Cook landing with the Dolphins? Lately, the news has been that Dalvin Cook may be staying in Minnesota. Dalvin Cook seems to be generating a lot more publicity about leaving the Minnesota Vikings than he did while playing last year for the Minnesota Vikings. However, I don't think this is going to be as easy as everybody thinks it is about Dalvin Cook landing in Miami. I saw this tweet from Vikings Nation, and it says running back Dalvin Cook may be reconsidering a pay cut in order to stay with the Vikings. Reason being lack of teams needing a running back and could make more money by taking a pay cut versus testing the market. That's very interesting. Is he going to make more money just taking a bit of a pay cut with Minnesota than he would on a trade to Miami or some other team? That's all the math that has to be worked out before they decide if they're going to move him off the roster. Then there's this tweet. The Athletic's Alec Lewis believes Vikings running back Dalvin Cook will either take a pay cut to remain in Minnesota or he will be traded for future draft picks. Now, if he's traded, are the Miami Dolphins thinking about leveraging a draft again for next year? I don't know. I don't think that makes a lot of sense because of where this team needs to be in the next 2 years. This is explained further here. This is from Alec Lewis at The Athletic. If the post-June 1 cut was the obvious way to handle Dalvin Cook's situation, the Vikings could have made that move months ago, but it's not because the benefits would be minimal. Instead, Minnesota has waited, opting instead to secure Cook by a pay cut or trade him for future draft capital. Let's read between the lines. Dalvin Cook is not going to be cheap. They're not going to give him away. It doesn't look like they're going to cut him or release him. They're going to want something in exchange for him, or they're going to figure out a way to pay him less. Then I saw this video from the head coach of the Minnesota Vikings that seems to pretty much say Dalvin Cook's a goner. So there's a lot of mixed messaging coming out of Minnesota. Check out this clip.
And you got other guys who are getting other reps. What are you seeing from those guys?
Yeah, I think this spring has been it's been really good to see Alex Madison, take a few more reps and really show that all 3 down kind of ownership that he's been capable of for a long time.
And then there's this clip from Alexander Madison, the running back who seems to be the heir apparent to Dalvin Cook's throne, who speaks about basically taking over the running back position.
You just look at yourself as the number 1 running back now?
It's just a matter of time, and the work will show for itself, whatever position I'm in, and whatever as the process goes on.
Alex, I know you're pretty uncertain about what direction free agency would go this offseason. How happy are you to be back here?
It feels good. I'm happy. I love it here. I always told people, I wouldn't rather play anywhere else. It's just an unbelievable organization, unbelievable locker room, team full of amazing guys, amazing coaches, and amazing staff. So I'm blessed to be back.
Do you keep in contact with Dalvin throughout this?
Yeah, that's my guy. FaceTime here in the area all the time.
How's it doing?
It's doing good.
I don't know. It seems to be a lot of mixed messaging coming out of Minnesota. Meanwhile, down in Miami, quiet, silence. Nobody's even talking about Dalvin Cook from the organization. On ESPN yesterday, they talked about Dalvin Cook's fate. Check this out.
We're looking at Dalvin Cook in Minnesota. Now, there's been a lot of chatter about potentially this being one of those post-June 1st designations when it comes to a release or a trade, but it really doesn't necessarily make sense that the team is just waiting until after June 1st to make this move. Instead, again, when we look at the running back market, when we see that it's dried up, the question now is, will Dalvin Cook stick in Minnesota? It felt often like a foregone conclusion that he would be moved, traded, or waived. At this point, though, there's still some wonder whether Cook instead will start this season with the team that he left off.
Yeah, Jeff, Dalvin Cook's one of those interesting topics all offseason because, we've never really reached, the boiling point where, there was clear and obvious intent from either side, and yet it's sort of been floating there the entire offseason.
So today being May 31st, tomorrow being June 1st, we are going to find out very quickly, probably within the next 24 to 48 hours, where Dalvin Cook is going to end up if he ends up leaving Minnesota at all. It's going to be very interesting to see what Minnesota gets and what Miami gives up if they bring Dalvin Cook to the Miami Dolphins. Let me know what you guys think. Fins up.
Is anybody catching on to this Barry guy?